Yay. Okay, so I set up like a small agenda for today. So basically what we did for the first kickoff meeting of this working group was basically to present the governance model, which is still iterated upon, but basically we want to make sure we have some rules for people to get access to repositories. And we also want to set up a process to actually adopt projects. It's going a bit slower than planned with ROSCON, but by the next meeting in 2 weeks, we'll get there. So now what I'd like to do today is just spend some time to get status updates on the project we already have started, and making sure that we go through other various items. And I also set up Zenup board to track progress in the ROS2 tooling working group organization, so we can probably just do a review of the board and probably leave it at that. Luis, do you have any topics you'd like to talk about today?
No, I didn't bring anything in particular. It's my first time joining the working group, so.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a bit of feedback on the working group organization. So Jeff was suggesting to alternate time to allow participation from Asia. I think it's a good idea. No objection, I guess we can just do that.
Yeah, what time is it in Asia right now?
I mean, it depends where in Asia, I guess.
Well, China is on the same, so I guess.
So it's 2 a.m. in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not great. So we have two possibilities. We could move that in the afternoon.
Yeah, so like 3 or 4.
Yeah, would probably be yeah, 4 p.m. would be 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So that would be doable, I think, for anyone in Asia. But I guess, yeah, 8 in China.
But then I guess it's bad for Europe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, right now we don't have any member neither in Europe or Japan. So another thing we could do is do one time 1 a.m. and one time. Sorry, not 1 a.m. 9 a.m. and one time 5 p.m. and alternate. Do you know how other working groups are scheduling those, Luis?
I know that the TSC does like one time bed for Europe, one time bed for Asia, and it's always good for California.
Of course, that's how it should be. Okay, well, I guess in this case alternating is probably the best. Yeah, I think it will be like 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. Yes. I will try for now, as we don't have any active members in those countries, to give it, to keep it at least in working hours there, so that we don't inflict pain for no reason. That one is more an action item for me. So just FYI, so we now have mailing list for working groups for each working group, and a shared calendar for all the working groups. If you go to the governance page, I think Tully put that there. Yay, we're here. So, well, long story short, the ROS2 working group mailing list is going to become the ROS2 or the ROS security working group mailing list, and I'm going to create a new one for this mailing list, for this working group. Working group mailing list.
So TSC should probably be updated for Amazon.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm gonna take that as an action item. Okay. So yeah, so FYI, just expect to be invited to a working group mailing list next week. Okay. Anyone else has a general topic thing about the working group organization we need to discuss today?
I think the most important one would be the action CI rather than that.
Yeah. Okay. So we can go directly to the status update. So cross compile, like I don't know, Zach or Anna, do you want one of you maybe just give a quick update of where we are on cross compile compared to 2 weeks ago? You both, maybe Zach, you did most of the work.
Yeah, in the last week or so, I've just been, as part of my own call here, I've been doing small quality of life improvements on cross compile. So it now has less steps. I have a documented process on how to install on Debian, but we need to determine if we actually want to support Debian stretch here, since well, it requires additional steps outside of what Ubuntu what Ubuntu would require.
Yeah. So the good point is that we got this is coming from a user, so it means that people are actually starting to use this tool, so that's good. But yeah, Debian is as usual a bit behind. So, but I think maybe I misunderstood, but I thought that basically what we need to do is to add ROS dev keys for Debian. You're relying on pip.
Yeah, that would solve it.
Okay.
I also noticed that we have another customer now.
Okay.
The guy that
just open the issue.
Yeah,
Dietrich. Yeah, he's been. We've had people who are actually contributing back and like helping us out. So,
he suggested making a copy of like the sysroot so that if you cancel it mid cross compile, you don't lose the.
Yeah, you don't lose the whole thing.
Yeah, I was thinking actually what we should consider is like a flag to run the script up to a certain stage. So he was saying how Docker CP is a lot faster.
Yeah.
So if someone knows that, they can just pass the flag to stop before
it does all that.
The export, and they can do it themselves.
That's something you can like discuss with them offline.
Okay.
Like there's already discussions being done.
Okay. So yeah, so I guess most of what we've been doing is like usability improvement and CI improvements.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, and I had a question for you, Louise. So here is the thing: like this cross compilation tool is building Docker images that we use for cross compilation. And right now we build them from scratch, and for various reasons, it's hard for us to directly host those base images under an Amazon-owned account because of legal reasons, basically. And would you be okay to host some of those images in an OSRF-owned Docker Hub repository?
Yeah, I just have to check who's the one taking care of that account. I believe it's Ruffin, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can check internally who's responsible for that and let you know.
Okay. Okay, so we may be able to unblock that because we got those images already for a while, but we never could upload them. So we have a rebuild from scratch every time currently, which is taking a couple hours. So
I wouldn't say a couple hours.
1 hour?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on your workstation.
Yeah, it depends on
yeah. Okay. So that's good to know. Okay. So we can take that down like next week. It's not super urgent or anything. Okay, so that's cross-compile. So we also have a new project, which is a small node to do system metrics collection. It's been an ask from customers on our side. And the goal is really to have something very lightweight, which is why we don't go with a fully fledged, system like Prometheus or something very, very complex. We just want to just like have a small node sampling system statistics and putting that on a topic and leaving it to that. Do either of you have context on where we sit on like those?
No, I mean the core functionality, at least when I last spoke with Devin, is that it's built, but there's a lot of like ROS integration that needs to go on there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So sounds good to me. Okay, so now GitHub Actions CI integration. So we can spend a bit of time, and I can maybe just have a quick run through what we've been doing there. So GitHub Action is the next new thing for basically running CI directly from GitHub. So it has support for OS X, Microsoft, and Windows. And the reason we are using that for cross-compile and is because of a couple of reasons. One, we got very, very bad performance with Travis so far. So we have to wait for a lot of time before jobs are starting. And we, at least in AWS Robotics, we've been reaching out the point where we ran out of quota and we had actually to pay for a private support for Travis for AWS Robotics. So that's one issue. Two, well, for many reasons, GitLab is not an option for us at Amazon. So using the GitLab CI is also not really an option. So all of that kind of, prevent us from directly using, like, for instance, ROS-I, CI solution, as well as, motivated at least me to try to start playing a bit with that and see what we can get out of it. And so far it's working fairly well. Something also which is good is that we actually have a way for, in GitHub Actions to create building blocks and reuse them between projects instead of having the Travis approach where everything is a script and basically you end up maintaining a shell script, or worse, you copy and paste stuff everywhere every time, which I've definitely been seen happening in the past. So I spent a few days or more than that now, maybe, creating 4 repositories here. So we got setup ROS2, which is configuring the host, which is going to run the CI, and then I have CI and linked. So CI is doing callcon build, callcon test. So it's an equivalent of what ci.ros2.org is doing basically on GitHub Action. And linked is pulling the latest binary packages, currently from Eloquent, and running the linters without compiling anything. So that gives us linter feedback in around like 20 seconds on PRs. So that's a clear improvement on what we've seen in the past. And the PyPy one is not something I want to maintain, but so cross-compile is going to be also available as a pip package for OS X support. That's one of the things I'd like to get going, and we also have a small action to just publish what we built on On PyPy, it's not ROS2 specific, so I'd rather not maintain that. So probably that's gonna be folded in a few, months once. I'm pretty sure the community is gonna come up with something better. So it's kind of hopefully it's just a shim until the GitHub Action community matures a bit more, basically. Yeah. So what's cool also. Is that you can see those here. So if you go to ROS here, so oh yeah, well I don't even have to filter on actions, but those like so that's the linter action, that's the CI action, and that's the setup one. So that stuff is directly available in the marketplace, and that's doing well. They're doing nicely all the integration. So what you get from it is that you need to put those steps into, well, actually just this one, into your workflow, and that's gonna do everything automagically for you. Yeah, I got just on the side, small side, Greenkeeper. I use it to make sure. So all of that is written, unfortunately, in TypeScript. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. So you have two types of GitHub Actions: Docker-based or JavaScript/Node-based. And I chose the Node one, which is more work, but get us OS X and Windows support. The Docker ones don't get OS X and Windows. And especially for ROS2 development, I mean, Linux is easy to get. That's the OS X and Windows where we get most of the value. So, yeah. So, well, long story short, then I got Greenkeeper, which is going to bump our NPM dependency and do the security auditing for us. So that's good. So we can go in cross-compile and see how it got applied in practice for the GitHub workflow. So if you go to GitHub workflows, we have two workflows happening in parallel: lint and test. Here is how you lint a package. So when you have a pull request coming, then you create a job which is running on Ubuntu. And it's gonna, well, actually, sorry, 3 jobs in parallel, because here it's a bit like what Travis is doing. You have a matrix here, and I'm gonna do in parallel a checkout of the code, so that just do a git clone of whatever the PR is submitting. I'm pulling the ROS2 configuration. I'm running the linter, and basically I can specify which linter I want here, and this one is going to be replaced by one of those 3 values, and I need to set up the package name to get to explain that I want to get cross compile here in this case. I can show you how it looks like. Oh well, on this super new PR that people have done. Here you go, yay! And so we got, for instance, well, let's take an easy one like copyright. Yeah, well, so then you have like copyright flag 8 PEP 257 and blah 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 blah. It's working, and here you can see that no problem found, check 14 files. A nice also thingy which comes with those GitHub Actions is that they reuse a problem matcher from VS Code syntax. So if you go to the lint one, here you go. And you look at the, where did I put that? Oh yeah, here you go. In this JSON file, so basically you can like get those, and it's gonna help GitHub Action parsing and reporting errors. So you can actually do the error warning info extractions from logs based on regex. So that is still super preliminary. GitHub is still working on that. So, but The goal is to basically get annotated diff automatically down the road. Yeah, I mean, it's fairly fancy. You got some GitHub Actions will also do autofix, so you can actually like submit suggestions, in the diff directly. I mean, you can go crazy with that stuff. But yeah.
So getting closer to self-correcting code.
Yes, you put a layer of AI on top of that, and you're good to go. Yeah, and the last one is the CI one. Let's see if I can get that. So it's action ROS to CI. I don't know. So well, nothing fancy. It's it's on par with what Jenkins is giving us. So we set up ROS2. We call the CI. And so a few nice things we get here is that we get code curve automatically. So we got it's integrated with code curve, so you got code coverage. And GitHub also built a nice upload artifact thingy, so you can upload files to here basically. So what you get here is that you get a zipped tarball of your Colcon log directory on Ubuntu and OS X. So that's another thing you get for free. We got also the Mac support is also done. I kept the code cove on Mac because we need coverage only once. Yeah, and it works basically. Something which is also cool that I can show you is that in the action.yaml, you can get to specify a mixin name and a mixin repository. So the reason I built that is as part of the ASAN and TSAN support. So something I want to get going for our C++ packages is having like regular builds on Clang and for thread safety annotation, as well as ASAN and TSAN checks on every PR. And so that's gonna help us inject into the CI the right configuration so that we pull the ASAN mixin in directly. So that's gonna help us, gonna help us validating that. So yeah, that's TBD, but I think it's not. Now that the colcons are there, it's just a matter of configuring the workflow the right way. And that's pretty much where we are now. I've been playing with cross-compile and launch ROS Sandbox, so that's already enabled on those two projects. And once we have some maturity on that, I'm gonna just go with more packages and see if anyone is interested.
You posted this on Discourse yet?
No, that's planned, but I want to just stabilize that a bit before people start opening bugs because they will. So yeah, I don't know. I know you two are already fairly familiar. I don't know, Louise, any feedback, comments, generally speaking?
I'm looking forward to using it. Yeah, it looks very handy.
Yeah, I mean, it's and just in case anyone wonders, GitHub Action is general availability November 13th, I think.
Did you say 18th?
Oh, 18th, I forgot. Well, I mean, 2 weeks plus minus 1 week. So yeah, and something which is also really good for us, and actually that's a bit interesting. Let me just...
It's the 13th, by the way.
Oh, well, here you go.
So that's Monday?
Is it Monday? Oh, wow, man.
It's the 8th right now.
Yeah, ROSCON is created a gap in my timeline. Oh yeah, it got badges and all of that. Now what I wanted is like...
Oh no, I can't do math. It's Wednesday.
Okay.
I thought you were kidding. I thought you were saying that Roscon threw you off so much you didn't know what day it was.
No, it's not that stage yet, even though. Yeah. So, and here is the nice thing is that they pushed like yesterday the option to have self-hosted runners, which is nuts because it means you can support Armed Chef.
Oh. So we could just get like a closet of single board computers.
Yeah. And actually that's their example. Like,
what are you talking about? Don't you guys have ARM runners?
I mean, we have Raspberry Pis. On EC2, yes.
No, I mean AWS, right? Don't you have?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like we do. But what it means is that now we can connect GitHub Actions to those instances if we want to.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I have been really impressed by what they've been doing. Yeah, and in case anyone wonders, here is where we are in terms of resources. I'm just gonna scroll that a bit. So we're in this category, yay! So we're here. And but basically what they mean is that even if you have a private repository, as long as you self-host your workers, it's free.
You can just like run an EC2 instance.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's good.
I mean, yeah, there are. I mean, it's rare for me, but my mind has been literally blown by what they're trying to do here.
They're trying to be.
I don't know, guys. I want to point out how new this is.
And GitLab
Anyway.
for pushing the.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my review of where we're going with that. So yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be good. CIA. Yeah. Oh yeah, and just on the side, something I'm looking at also is to automate pull request assignment, because as basically what you get on those workers is a GitHub API to token to do whatever you want on your repository. Plus, if you're in TypeScript world, you get directly OctoKit preloaded on your worker. So you can use that also to do triaging and moving stuff automatically. It's integrated also with the GitHub boards, the issues, and everything. All the GitHub API basically. So there are a few things probably too we could low-hanging fruit for us there. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. Okay, so we can maybe move to the board review. So I created a ZenHub board for the tooling working group. Objective would be to try to review that every meeting, getting also a bit of making this meeting a bit as a grooming, for what's maintained as part of the working group. So yes, so we have those new issues from this morning. I didn't review them. I don't know. I think we already talked about that, so we can do that. So I'm gonna skip file talker. Right now it's a project. It's just a sample demo node that we use internally, and we don't know exactly where to contribute to. So it's living in the tooling working group right now, but we may reevaluate that down the road. We'll see what we do. Yeah, something which is in the icebox because it's more a dream that something I'm gonna work is getting Bloom support on GitHub Actions. So this one is Action ROS to CI. So basically doing pre-release on when you push tags automatically. Something also, yeah, we can skip this one because it's harder than planned. File talker 2. Okay, here is what we have on the backlogs that's gonna be done. I think most of that will be done, I think, handled before the next meeting. I'm gonna add GitHub Actions and lint and test to system metrics collector to make sure that that it works well before doing the discourse post. Yeah, we had an action item around documenting which version of Python we support in cross-compile.
I think that. Well, no, I added the warning. Never mind. I didn't document it in the.
Well, I guess we could. I mean, honestly, well, if we put that in the, I mean, anyway, it's a one line now. Yeah. So Zach, you did a bit of work to get back the Python 3.5.
Yeah, so it's 3.5.
Okay, good.
One-liner change.
It's a one-liner change.
Okay, good. Yeah. So steps following ROS to run command. Okay, so we have so we had some feedback also from RoboMaker users that well, what should you do once you have a cross-compile environment? So we're gonna do expand on that. That's a small bug to fix version points to master. Yeah, so we just need to to make sure we point to the right repos on the right branches. This one is just a small documentation. Well, it's mainly documentation at this point. This one is more problematic. Do you know? Oh, this one is a Debian one, right?
Oh yeah, that's Debian stretch only, and I'm updating it right now with what we need to do here, and it's just we need to update Python 3 Docker to install with pip on Debian 9 only.
Okay.
In the setup.py, you mean? Or
no, that's a ROS steps.
Oh, okay.
But once that's done, then we can officially support Debian stretch here.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, and the stretch is like what, tier 3, right?
It's tier 3.
Okay. Tier 3 is best effort.
Yeah, but there's this one dude that really wants it.
Yeah. So we'll do it. Yeah, and something we had is that we would like to make the cross-compile a bit more independent from network access to make sure the state is homogeneous. So right now we are pulling the mixins through HTTP, and we are gonna copy them and to make sure that when we modify the mixins used internally by cross-compile, we don't point to master. That would be bad for testing. So fairly small stuff. What we have in progress is automatically upload new releases to PyPy. So actually it's done. It's in more, I think I had a bug. The CI failed last night. But basically we are gonna push cross-compile to the PyPy test instance every time a new version is released. Not to the main repository until we do the proper QA assessment. Yeah, Windows support is on its way for Action ROS to CI. I may need some help there, so I'm gonna groom that later because it's Windows, it's hard. I have a PR to improve the setup.py metadata, adding the classifiers, documenting also there which version of Python we support and so on. Yeah, and this is PR for the Windows support. And Clang thread safety annotation support, so I need to just validate that the parameters we have on the CI action is good enough for what we want to do there. So again, once it's in system metrics collector, we will have validated that we can support thread safety annotation. And that stuff is actually annotated with thread safety annotation, so we'll have a real test case for that. Something that is in review, we are gonna read the version number in setup.py from the package.xml. So it's something that is just a small usability thing. We saw discrepancies between those two last week, so we're gonna stop duplicating information and just do that. And system metrics collector, so we are adding the API to log measurements. This PR is well underway. It's going to be merged hopefully today. TSAN support is done, and we have a bunch of PRs that we merge. I mean, let's not go through all of that. Yeah. Anything I missed on what we have on the backlog right now? Okay. Sounds good. Okay, and yeah, and then we have a few action items to make a list of which maintainer we should reach out to see if they would be interested in participating. Carsten seems interested, but I don't think he's back from ROS, so we're gonna invite him to the next meeting and making sure that if there is a way for us to participate more into the ROS back 2 maintenance, we're gonna try to get that done. And after, once it's done, I was thinking of asking William to join, see if there is anything we could offload from him. Yeah, typically are these. And something that I saw on Discord this morning is that Dan was suggesting something else. I don't know if you saw that this morning. Oh yeah, so it's yeah. So we've been talking with Silexica. They're doing good stuff. I don't know though if there is something we could really take as part of that, or maybe was thinking of the trace tools. I was back to yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure, I would say why not. We can definitely think about helping for that too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna add that to the to the notes there. That's the plan. So yeah, so that's where we are right now. That's anyone has any other suggestion for people we should reach out to, trying to get that.
So my performance swings are just kind of like the Apex AI performance.
Oh well, that could be maybe also. Yeah, maybe we could also try to see. That could be potentially in scope. Let's see if Apex could be interested in collaborating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good thing. No, I think what for this talk in particular, they were talking about the tracing effort. So basically, they're adding in the code checkpoints, where you gather statistics, but you need to instrument the code in C++. So it's more intrusive. And what Silexica is doing, but their stuff is closed source, is doing it
on the board.
It's more like they instrument syscalls and a bunch of other stuff, but it's without changing the code. But it's not a slam dunk, because basically what you get with that is that their plotting system is based on functions. So you don't instrument the C++, but instead you have a bigger project where you need to have a list of symbols that you want to trace. And I'm actually not necessarily convinced that it's less maintenance work, because at least in C++ it lives with your test, and if it's broken, you're going to get a CI failure, versus building testing infrastructure and making sure your Silexica project is not going to rot when we have PRs. And symbols get renamed is a difficult problem to solve. So yeah. Sounds good. Any suggestion, Louise, on your side on people that we should reach out to?
I can't think of anybody right now.
Okay. Any other suggestion? I don't know. Just. Yeah, I don't know if at Canonical you have any other I don't know, like a wish list on your side.
No, not at this time.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, and what's gonna impact you is that LaunchROS Sandbox is currently in the ROS security organization, and it uses like GitHub Action stuff. I mean, just heads up. If you have a strong preference about things, just we can chat offline. Happy to discuss how we want to collaborate on that, and and I don't know exactly what you guys are thinking for the security working group, how it's gonna be handled in the future. If you want to mimic more what we are doing or do something else, let me know if you want me to adjust how we manage the ownership of LaunchROS Sandbox. Yeah, we can talk during the next security working group about that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Well, if that's everything, that's all I had for today. See you in 2 weeks then.
Mm-hmm. See you on Monday.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.